The Samsung Galaxy Tab S10 Ultra caught us off guard. Samsung usually updates its flagship tablets on an 18-month cycle, but this time we got an annual refresh, and it feels a bit premature, arriving just before the launch of the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite in the MediaTek Dimensity 9400 series. Instead, the Galaxy Tab S10 Ultra is powered by MediaTek Dimensity 9300 Plus. The reason for this timing? Still a mystery, but here it is. So how does it stack up? Interestingly, the lineup seems incomplete. Samsung unveiled the Galaxy Tab S10 Plus and the Galaxy Tab S10 Ultra, but the smallest and most affordable series model wasn't updated. For now, the Galaxy Tab S9 remains a peer to these newer devices. As for the Ultra, Samsung's massive door-sized tablet, it starts at the same price as its predecessor, which is $1,199.99, and still includes the excellent S Pen in the box. The real surprise? It's now running on a MediaTek processor instead of Qualcomm. A curious shift. But what else does it bring to the table, and is it worth your consideration? We put it to the test. Samsung's probably the only Android manufacturer to regularly launch tablets with premium components and high-tier hardware inside. The Galaxy Tab S10 Ultra is, of course, a natural competitor to the latest Apple iPad Pro 13-inch. However, Samsung threw us a curveball with the processor used inside. You'll notice that not a lot has changed here compared to the Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra. Aside from that processor, everything is same down to the battery capacity. So what's going on with this tablet? Okay, so this is the third time we're getting the same Galaxy Tab Ultra. No complaints here. Apple drags on the same iPad design for years too. If it works, it works. But we do wish Samsung would have tried to at least shrink that display notch that houses the dual cameras, at least a little. According to on-paper specs, the Galaxy Tab S10 Ultra is ever so slightly thinner than the Tab S9 Ultra, 5.4mm versus 5.5mm, and slightly lighter too at 718 gram versus 730 gram. But those differences are incredibly minuscule and not noticeable when holding both slates in hand. Looking at those two tablets invokes the "corporate wants you to find the difference between these two pictures" meme, and the same goes with the Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra. And there's no change in the material used, but Samsung does state that it's a 10% stronger aluminum build. That's a welcome upgrade for a tablet that's so thin. No, we don't do bend tests here. All that's fine. So what's new? The display. The panel itself is still a huge 14.6-inch dynamic AMOLED 2X. That's Samsung's branding, which basically translates to, these have great peak brightness and a dynamic refresh rate up to 120Hz. That's not new. What is new is the anti-reflective coating on top, which Samsung says only reflects less than 2% light. As a reminder, the Galaxy S24 Ultra phone has a special Gorilla Armor glass on top, which reduces reflectivity by 70%, and it definitely enhances the experience as the screen's much more vibrant and offers better visibility, even if it didn't have big upgrades in brightness. Looking at the Galaxy Tab S10 Ultra screen, we can confirm the reflections are reduced and consuming content on that display is elevated no matter the environment. Even when you're indoors, you'd still be surprised how many reflections still hamper your experience. And it helps a lot because, as you see from our benchmarks, the display panel itself doesn't push out a lot of brightness. 600 nits was okay before, but now it just feels much better with less reflections. Here's a note: we don't measure peak brightness, which is for HDR, but real use full screen brightness. The colors and sharpness are, of course, exceptional, as is typical with Samsung's AMOLED panels. As for biometrics, we still have an in-screen fingerprint sensor on those models, though a less secure face unlock options available. The fingerprint is fine and fast, but we admit, a bit awkward to use. You typically hold a large tablet at such a distance from yourself. Like if it was a laptop, you probably have a fingerprint scanner on the keyboard. If it's an iPad Pro, you just look at it and Face ID does the rest. So the Galaxy Tab S10 Ultra feels weird when you have to reach out across your working space to unlock it. But that's just minor. We thought it's an interesting gripe to mention. Cameras on tablets, the ever-contentious topic. Nobody's gonna hold up a 14.6-inch tablet to take photos when out on a hike or tour trip, obviously. But if you're paying flagship money, you should at least be getting decent cameras. The ones on the front are most important. When talking about tablets, as you typically find yourself using them for video calls, Samsung adjusted nothing here. We have the same 12MP wide and 12MP ultra-wide duo. And yes, the Samsung software does have a face follow feature, so you can use that ultra-wide camera to move around and have it follow you while on the call. On the back, we have a 13MP wide and 8MP ultra-wide camera. Again, no change. In our experience, the main camera is decent enough for what you do want a tablet to do. Take a quick picture of something you want to share in a chat right now, or scan a document to sign, or something in between. The ultra-wide camera we haven't used in the past beyond testing it. Again, it's decent, but not as good as on flagship phones like the Galaxy S24 series. In a weird turn of events, the Galaxy Tab S10 Ultra doesn't come with a Snapdragon processor. Instead, it's powered by MediaTek Dimensity 9300 Plus, built on a 3rd Gen 4nm process. This is weird, considering that Samsung has that partnership with Qualcomm, and the Samsung phones come with special overtuned Snapdragons wearing the Made for Galaxy moniker with pride. What's going on here? We couldn't find out, but Samsung does claim that this processor offers an 18% CPU speed increase and 36% GPU performance improvement over the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 that powered last year's Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra. It's a huge improvement, good job by the Dimensity. In fairness, if you put both the Tab S10 Ultra and the Tab S9 Ultra in our hands and asked us which one feels and works better, we'd be hard-pressed to answer, as Android and One UI only do so much with the process they have access to. But presumably, the Dimensity 9300 has more headroom for the future, and its extra power unlocks more and upcoming Galaxy AI features. Again, presumably. In general, we're not worried about long-term performance of the MediaTek Dimensity 9300 Plus. The company is often associated with budget phones and lower performance, but the Dimensity 9000 series is actually quite powerful and way up there. It's just more rarely used in devices that are sold in the West. And we wonder what drove Samsung to skip Qualcomm for this particular tablet release. Samsung software is definitely a huge selling point for Galaxy devices. The company takes the Android operating system and dresses it up beyond recognition. And over the years, One UI has become both pretty and functional. You can quick launch into split-screen app duos, you can have apps floating in Windows versions for multitasking, and you can have a plethora of apps that have been coded to work perfectly with the S Pen stylus. Also, the flagship Galaxy tablets can be used in 2 different modes. There's the standard Android mode, which looks like an oversized smartphone UI, but you can also activate DEX without the need for an external monitor. DEX is a Samsung development which completely changes how the tablet operating system looks. It mimics the look of a desktop machine, which makes perfect sense with a large screen tablet. It's obvious that Samsung takes the software seriously. Unfortunately, pro app developers are still not entirely on board with Android.